Hi Premama, I'm Kaylee, host of this channel. When we're on the journey to motherhood, our mindset and thoughts are so important and can affect fertility in ways that you'll discover today with our guest. We're excited to have Erin Sherman, founder and CEO of Organic Conceptions, to discuss our mindset and its effect on fertility. This workshop took place in our free Trying to Conceive community linked in the description below. Join us in the group for future workshops and a community of women supporting each other on our journeys to motherhood. Now, let's get to mindset, thoughts, and how it can affect fertility. Hi everyone, I'm Kaylee. I'm a member of the Premama Wellness team. I have been a member at Premama since 2016, so I'm just so excited and so grateful for this community that we've built. And in the spirit of Fertility Awareness Week, I have Erin here from Organic Conceptions, co-founder, and we're really excited to discuss today some mindset, positivity strategies to put towards your fertility experience, especially because we've noticed lately that a number of our members have been feeling discouraged throughout their conception journeys. And I think it's important for us to stay mindful and implement daily strategies to stay positive. So I'd love, Erin, if you could introduce yourself and just a little bit about your background, your journey, and how you founded Organic Conceptions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kaylee. So, I'm Erin Sherman. I'm co-founder of Organic Conceptions. And how that came to be is my fertility story. So, 15 years ago, I'm a little older mom, but that's when we started our journey. And it took us about 5 years to conceive our first child. And that route, we actually went the medical route, and we had lots of different treatments. And then just before we decided, we were making the decision whether or not to do in vitro, I was just mentally, physically exhausted from the ride. So I opted off the ride. I wanted a pause. I needed a break. And I actually remember saying out loud, like, I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping trying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just stopping this wheel. Like, I want to get off the ride for now. Like, I'm going to be a mom someday, but just need a break.
Yeah.
And 1 month later, I was pregnant. And so then fast forward, to wanting a second child, and same thing came about. We had struggled again with infertility. And this time I was more in a hurry because I wanted a sibling for my child. And it wasn't just about my want. It was like, wait a minute. So, so we experienced, like a lot of people experience, secondary infertility. And I began to look at adoption as the quick fix, like, hurry up, we need a sibling, right, into the picture. So we really jumped on that, and we were really excited. It took us a little while to finally find a family who wanted to give us their little blessing, and we did. They chose us. We were very excited, and literally moments after we were chosen, we found out that we were again pregnant. So my husband is, the business person, and he's like, man, there's something to this. There is something, I don't know what it is, but as these kept happening to us, and we fast forward again, we have another child. That one was not an eventful story. We just conceived. But my husband was like, Mark Sherman, who's co-founder also, he was very interested in just what is happening. Is it mind? Is it body? Is it what happened? And so many people have these experiences. Yeah. And what is it? So we were like, okay. So we decided to do some research, and we partnered with Dr. Kate Webster, who's a statistician and women's health and women's studies psychologist. And she was more than happy and excited to do this, deep dive. So we did a multi-year study. And what we found was that there was something, like it's a thing, right? But it wasn't just one thing. There were these 9 common transitions that we uncovered, and they were universal throughout all of our participants. And my story was their story, even though we had different stories.
Right.
It was like what was going on emotionally and in our minds and throughout our bodies was the same. So
interconnected.
yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And incredible. I mean, we were just blown away. We were like, maybe it is a fluke, but no, it really wasn't. So the people who did conceive naturally after years of trying, which was our story, we all had this thing in common. So what we did was we flipped all of that research and decided to create a program to help people to kind of navigate through this journey. So we think about ourselves as a company as like, if you think about fertility treatments as GPS, right? You plug in the destination, it's like, that's the way you're going to get this, right?
Yep.
Well, organic conceptions is like Waze, right? So we anticipate the pitfalls, the traffic, all of the things that can happen along the journey. And we've already, we know. So, and we give you the tools to help you see it and then to navigate through it and then get out on the other side, hopefully with the best outcome possible.
Yeah.
So that's me inside of inside of the company. I'm also head coach for the company. So I work one-on-one with women who are struggling with feelings of, like you said, grief, sadness, despair, doubt, all of those emotions that we see.
Yeah, and it definitely builds up. And I think that's why mindset truly can make such a big difference during the journey. And I'd love to learn a little bit more about why mindset matters while you're trying to conceive.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, this can be a stressful time, and we all agree that, I was there. I can remember it just like it was yesterday, especially talking to people as I do daily. I can feel it. It brings it all back. And so mindset is an interesting, it's like a buzzword right now, right? People use it, but what does it mean? So I want to just first kind of talk about that. What is mindset? And you think about it like, oh, it's just a positive thinking, right? Well, it is positive thinking, but what's really cool about it is that we are the only species that can look inside our own brains, and we can look at our thoughts and we can think about them. So that is what we're able to do as humans. And that can either turn into like a really bad thing, right? We can spin out and start to feel bad about and judge our thoughts, or we can use it in a positive way. And that's where the word mindset comes in, where we can actually set it, like turning on an oven to a certain degree. Like we can go in there, see what's happening, and set it and really direct our thinking and change our outcome.
That's amazing. And I think, like, we were talking about this before we started the event tonight. And I think even just changing like little things you do on day to day, like having my gratitude journal in the morning, it just kind of sets me up for a day of success. And I think how, I guess on days where I'm stressed, I can see how it affects my entire day. And I think that translates over to when you're trying to conceive as well. And stress does impact fertility, but to what degree, I guess, is what we wonder.
Yeah. So you said a couple of things there that I want to just talk about. So first of all, when you talk about your gratitude journal, what you're doing is you're setting your focus, right? And so when we know that what we focus on is what we follow, right? We can see it, and our brains are focused on it so that we do it. Right. And a little trick you can do is this is fun to play with someone else. And if we were working with a live audience, we could ask the question, if I asked you to close your eyes, and we could play it right now if you
Sure.
like. Okay, close your eyes.
Okay.
And since you're not in a room that is a room that you're in all the time, I just want you to quickly, when you open your eyes, I want you to tell me how many red things that you see. Open up your eyes.
2.
Okay, you see 2 red things.
Okay.
Okay, now close your eyes. Okay. Now, when you have your eyes closed, I want you to tell me how many purple things did you see?
Maybe 2 or 3.
Or maybe. So that was a maybe. That was a maybe.
Yeah, I didn't see any purple.
Yeah, you didn't see any. I mean, you can recall the room and probably try to
I was trying to think about what would be purple around here, but I literally was focused on the red.
Yes, exactly. Because you're focused on that color. That's what you will look for. So if you're doing that's why gratitude journals work so well, right? Is because you're telling yourself, this is what I want to be focused on today. And your brain will listen to you. Our brains are incredible that way. They want to just follow what we tell them to do.
It's amazing. And I
Yes.
think back
And
to
the other, the stress,
yeah,
right? Because you mentioned stress, and I definitely wanted to touch on that. And there's a lot of research suggesting that stress can impact fertility. And certainly that's like the elephant in the room. We don't want to suggest that you are stressed and you're stressing yourself out, and that's what's causing this delay in conception. That's a horrible thing to tell people, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that's so insensitive and it's so unkind, but we don't want to ignore the fact that stress is not healthy. And if you are stressed, then you need some tools, right? To start to get yourself back into that homeostasis where you're in an even playing field, and then your reproductive organs and all of the hormones are working for you, not against you, right? So that's why mindset and stress, they have to play together. And I've got the tools. So I would love to teach you some of them today.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. Okay, great. So the first thing that I like to teach when I'm doing my classes for our community, which we have a similar, right? We have a similar community where we've got a finger on the pulse of women who are going through this journey, and it's just so unique. But what I like to do is I like to first teach them this very important concept. So if I were to poll your audience right now and I were to ask, what are the stressful events that are, what's causing you stress to do with fertility? And if we had a chat right now, we would see things like, considering treatment, or the monthly, or the 2-week wait, or, maybe like someone's baby shower, or like jealousy, right?
Family
Things like that.
asking about when you're going to get pregnant.
Yeah. Yes. Right. You can
all the time.
Yes, exactly. Right. So, and those are the things, right, that we tell ourselves these are stressful.
Yeah.
Right. When in reality, they're not actually stressful. So I want to explain what I mean by that, because that also sounds insensitive. Like, what do you mean? That is totally stressful. And just before we did this, we were trying to go live, and we had a technical issue and we couldn't, and you were probably feeling stress, right?
Definitely.
And if I asked you what caused the stress, what would you say?
I would have said the fact that we couldn't go live.
Yes, right. Mm-hmm. But this is where I want you to really pay attention, okay? Okay. So the fact that we weren't able to go live was not causing you stress. It was something in between, and that's our thoughts.
So thinking it's a stressful situation, therefore reflects and puts stress on my body and my mind.
Yes.
And my overall well-being. Correct.
It's perceived stress. So, and even you don't even have to have the thought, this is stressful. Mm-hmm. You could have had the thought, oh, this is going to look bad, or I hope people aren't disappointed, or I bet a million thoughts went through your mind. And the thoughts actually are the physical generators of our emotions. We cannot have an emotion without having a thought. Right? So that's why a really stressful, horrible thing can happen to someone and they can remain calm. Or something really happy can happen and someone can just be completely stressed out about it. It's just all in our perception and all in our thoughts.
And then
so in our thoughts, go ahead.
I was going to say it can manifest itself physically. And then, like we say, stress doesn't necessarily cause fertility challenges, but our mindset and the way that we think on a day-to-day basis and planning it out and all the things, the little things that we let add up, that's all in our minds, and it's not necessarily actually the stress. So
correct. And it's not actually necessarily true either. Yeah. So I like to ask people to really look at that. Like what one is the circumstance, right? The circumstances are happening around us. We are not to the effect of them. We are not robots that are like controlled by our environment. We actually have a thought that then creates a feeling in our bodies, right? A feeling can be physical, it can be emotional, and then we act a certain way, and then it produces a result, and that becomes our outcome, right? Our lives.
Yeah.
So, but where we have the control is the thought. So it's
like all,
and that's so powerful.
Yeah, it's very powerful. And I think I think that's such a great tool as a reminder every single day for all of us. And using that as a tool and having that implement as like part of your process daily can make such a difference.
Huge difference, right? So the daily practice, and I like how you asked that, because when we learn something like this, like we're consuming this information, wow, that's really cool. Click, we're done. We're going to go off to something else.
Yep.
What do you do? What's the takeaway for people to actually implement this and put this into practice? Is doing we call it a thought download. And so you're actually taking all of the information that's in your brain, right? All of your thoughts around a certain topic. So that circumstance, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you think that, what example did you say? You said you mentioned a good one, and I forgot what it was.
Family asking about trying to conceive, or
Yes.
when you're planning on having a baby when they don't know all the external circumstances.
Right. So I would put that in my circumstance line, family asking questions, right? And then I realized that that is a circumstance, right, that wouldn't affect anybody else. Like if my cousin walked into the room, it really wouldn't bother him, right? Or, if my grandmother came into the room, it really wouldn't bother her. So if it's not bothering everybody, if it's not a problem for everyone, it's not stressful for everyone, then it's really not stressful. Okay. And what we realize is nothing's really stressful because we cannot all agree on that one thing. So the circumstance is actually just a fact. It's what's happening, regardless of what we make of it, what we think of it, how we perceive it, right? So just separating the fact, and then what do I think about that? What am I thinking about that? What am I telling myself about that? What's the language that I use constantly? You've got to be careful of that.
Yeah, that's right? The emotional connection and the emotion that you're going to add to that fact and the action.
And you don't even have a choice. Once you think a thought, the emotion just follows suit. That's your brain's design, right? So it's just to keep us alive. So you have the thought, you have a feeling, and sometimes people don't catch the thought. No, let me just totally erase what I just said. Most of the time, people do not catch the thought. 95% of our thoughts are unconscious. So we actually just feel the feelings.
Yeah.
So if I asked your audience, can you tell me, what you're thinking? They would give me a feeling word.
Yeah.
Because that's how we think it goes.
It's so crazy, but we're not taught to think and separate those thoughts. Like no one walks you through that. And that's why this is so important, because when you're taking on trying to conceive and going through a fertility journey, and you might be discouraged and you're seeing on social media, you're scrolling through, and it's just like the subconscious of you seeing, oh, there's another one. And then you're just going to have that feeling right away. But taking the time to separate yourself, realize, okay, my friend Sarah's pregnant, but that's a fact. That's not a negative towards me, or it shouldn't make me feel bad.
And maybe it does make you feel bad, but it's important to check your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So what am I thinking about it? And I don't even want you. I'm not suggesting that you try to change your thoughts right away, but just notice them and notice the feeling that you're having. And then going back to mindset, now we can make a shift, right? Just realizing and knowing that those thoughts are that's just information. And some of the thoughts are coming from social media. Some of them are coming from our parents. Some of them are coming from who knows, like
partner,
deep right, everywhere, anywhere. Yeah. So we get to choose the ones that we like, and the ones that are supportive, and the ones that are, making us feel the good feelings. And then we repeat those, and we write them down, and we really hold on to those. And that's the mindset shift. So what we do at Organic Conceptions is we look at the 9 phases that I was telling you about, and we have people check in at each one of those points and do these check-ins and measure their thoughts against them.
Yeah. And for people who are going through it on a daily basis, should you check in with yourself every day? Do you recommend doing that? Like, what are your recommendations?
So I always I like to tell my clients to keep a pad of paper by their bedside, and either in the morning or at night, but definitely daily, do a thought download. So write all your thoughts, and keep it to this topic, or else, your paper will be very, very full, or you'll be writing for days. Just, if something that's creating like a yucky feeling for you, like what's going on that's just rough right now, write all the thoughts down, right? And get good at deciding what are the thoughts, right? And then I say, okay, next day, go ahead and take a different color pen and go ahead and circle a thought that if it's repeating, like if it's one that keeps coming up, those are the ones that are going to get sticky and we really need to zap those. And then the next day, another color, right? And so if you see a rainbow around one thought, that's actually more than a thought, it's a belief. The thoughts that we think over and over are actually beliefs. And those are the ones we really need to be paying attention to, because those are the subconscious ones that are driving everyday stuff.
See, that's amazing. I would never think of it that way unless someone were to give me that tool and a way to understand and process my thoughts.
Yes, it's very powerful. I learned it. I have to give credit to Brooke Castillo. She is my coach mentor, and I learned it all there. But it happened to marry our philosophy and our program that we use at Organic Conception so nicely that I just use it as a coaching tool to help people to get to where they want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think,
yeah, so I hope your audience can take away something from this, and definitely daily do the thought download, catch those thoughts. And then if they want to, put it into a model where they separate the circumstance, the thought, right? The emotion, and then the action, like what am I doing because of that emotion? And then looking at the result that that's causing. And then you can just make a shift.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And I think as we continue, we'll have more lives, and we will be live next time so that we can have a Q&A session, because I think this is just so beneficial for whether you're trying to conceive or even no matter where you are in your journey. If you're taking a pause, I think it's just as important there. So thank you, Erin, for taking the time today.
Sure.
And in closing, I think if we could talk a little bit about the assessment that you offer, and I want to go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do offer, it's called the Fertile Mindset Assessment, and it is based on emotional wellness. So we want you to check in with us, check in with yourself, really. And it's a good questionnaire based on how you're feeling, what you're thinking, what's going on with you. So you're just answering questions, and based on your score, we then can, we actually offer you a free call with us. It's usually me. We have a team of people, but 1 out of 4 times it's me. And we chat, and I just, we check in to see what's going on with you. And if Organic Conceptions happens to be a fit and we can help you through our program, then great. And it's not for everyone. If you're scoring really, really high emotionally and you're just starting out on your journey, or maybe I just gave you all the tips right now and you're good. You're good, right? But we want to be there to support you emotionally. So you can click on the link that I'm sure will be available.
I will leave the link in the post, and then in our YouTube video, it will be in the description as well.
Absolutely.
I think it's important too to highlight that it's not just for you, it's for couples. So if you want your partner to be a part of it, I think you can. If it's just personal for you, you can do it yourself, but it is for couples as well.
Yes. Yeah, we always like to see people working together and not being isolated in this journey. So definitely bring your partner along.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Erin.
Thank you, Kaylee.